This is the Wally and Methot Show. Now here are your hosts, Brent Wallace and Mark Methot.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Brent Wallace. He's 13-year NHL veteran defenseman Mark Methot, who has taught Alex Formanton all he needs to know about goal scoring. Meth, before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about who's on the show today. We have the hottest goal scorer in the league right now, who's going to be joining us, Mika Zibanejad of the New York Rangers. He has more goals than anybody else since April the 13th. The former Ottawa Senator first-round pick is here. He's got lots to talk about. I mean, you can't really stop him right now. You can only try and contain him, it seems. More points than almost anybody except his teammate, Artemi Panarin. Meth, when you played with him, it was a while ago, obviously, but did you see any of this in Mika when you were playing alongside?
Yes. Now, did I ever expect him to casually put back 6 points or 5 points on any given night in one game consecutively? No, you can't predict that, but he had a lot of great tendencies, a lot of really creative moves that he would bring in games. And he's so rangy, almost Yager-esque with his range and his strength on his skates, mixed with, ability to move the puck and make plays. So am I surprised that he's hit this much success? Yes, but I'm very happy for him, and hopefully he can keep it going. And
really, like, he does have that kind of, he looks like he's almost like Jason Spezza, who's not very quick, or at least it appears he's not very quick, but somehow he's always in the right spot on the ice. One other note about the way he's played of late, that is, he seems to score hat tricks at will as well. Like, only David Pastrnak and Alex Ovechkin have more hat tricks since 2018-19. Now, Pastrnak has 9 and Ovechkin has 8, but Mika Zibanejad has 6 hat tricks over that span. Like, I don't think we really have appreciated exactly how good he is, because he flies under the radar, especially with Panarin in New York and all the other great goal scorers in the league, but certainly someone that needs to get a lot more attention. At least I think he does.
Yeah. And it's hard to believe that someone's flying under the radar in New York City, but I think especially this year, you're right. We always talk about how insulated we are up here in the North and not really catching a lot of the American games, being that the divisional, layout is the way it is. So, I mean, I don't know that people are really surprised that he's playing good hockey right now, because he's always kind of been hot and cold to a degree. But then he comes back and, buries or pots 5 points like we were just talking about. So again, sneaky speed. He's actually a lot quicker than people realize. He's a very powerful skater, and he tends to open ice up very well for himself throughout the neutral zone. And we're starting to see that a lot in his play now. And what's most dangerous about Mika's game is that he's getting more confident, which is hard to believe, but he's doing it.
And he's getting to wear a letter this year. Also, twice this year, he's put up 6 points in games. It's just phenomenal what he's been able to do. All right. Also still ahead in the show, we have Trivial Trivia. Craig's going to stop by. Lots more to talk about. But first, as always, Matthew, you know what's coming next. It's the headlines. First up, the Ottawa Senators are basically on fire. It is knuckle sandwich time for the Vancouver Canucks. Shimmy, shimmy, shake. Brady Tkachuk's first career Gordie Howe hat trick on Wednesday night. Let me see JBD. Why isn't Jacob Bernard Docker playing? Rest is a weapon. Do players really conserve their energy as they're heading into the postseason? And future Sens. What do the monoculars say about the Sens' future going into next year? Should we talk about the playoffs? All right. Before we get to that, first up, the Ottawa Senators are rolling of late. They're 6-2 in their last 8. They've now won 3 of 4 against Vancouver with a decisive win on Wednesday night. What do you have to say about the way they played down here, the stretch, if you will?
Well, and I think the first thing that I'm going to say, and it's not taking anything away from Ottawa, of course, because I'm a huge fan, obviously. But I think you got to call into question Vancouver's state right now and where they're at. And I think, have they hit a wall right now? I know that they came out of the gates really strong after getting hit by COVID and those unfortunate circumstances, but it seems like they've kind of fizzled a little bit. But having said all that, got to give Ottawa a little love. They've cleaned up their D zone. One of the biggest takeaways for me, at least, and I'm biased because I'm a defenseman, or was rather, is their breakouts are much cleaner now. It just feels like they're coming out of the zone tighter together. They're making good plays, and they're generating offense from that. And I don't know that that's something that they've been working on lately. To me, it's probably a combination of maybe a little bit of that and mostly just growth together as a team and learning each other's tendencies. So that to me is a huge thing. And then, of course, getting big games out of guys like Brady Tkachuk that are pulling everyone into battle. makes a big difference. And so I think for me, it just comes down to they're just structurally playing better hockey now, and they're getting rewarded for it.
I want to clarify one thing. You did say former defenseman. Once you're a defenseman, you're always a defenseman. So you never have to apologize for that.
Fair enough.
Speaking of which, we've had a lot of discussion about Thomas Chabot over the couple of weeks here.
Yep.
You really sensed that in that game Wednesday, he really was like the Thomas Chabot that we've all known. Like, I thought he was by far one of their best players. And obviously Brady Tkachuk was really good, but really, I think you talk about breakouts and whatnot, like Thomas Chabot really controlled that game from the back end.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned that, because we have to give him a little bit of love too. To me, and I'm still standing by this, Wally, I know it was a bit of a contentious issue between us two, but he's my MVP of this team. I know Brady's been playing incredible hockey, but I think a lot of us at least can agree that if Thomas Chabot isn't in that lineup logging those 30 minutes, it may have been a much uglier year, right? So sure. It's nice to see him getting a little confidence right now. I don't know what he's planning on doing moving forward. I know there's a lot of talk about him perhaps joining Canada now at the Worlds. I think that'll be a tough call for him as far as where he's at mentally, and he might be a little physically drained. I know I probably would be, but nevertheless, it's also a good opportunity for him to showcase his ability, perhaps for the Olympics. So that'll be something to talk about, I'm sure, later on.
Okay, I don't know how you don't pick Brady Tkachuk for MVP, but we'll save that for another day. He just came off a game Wednesday, and we always do this. It was like that your best game you ever played, because we forget all the other ones that they play. But that was a 3-point night. He had his first career Gordie Howe hat trick. He was like, he controlled that game for a large part of it. You just couldn't seem to try and contain him very well. We go back to this all year long. He's really carried this team. At least I think he has up front. I don't know how we can argue the MVP thing later, but up front, there's no one like him, I think, right now in the league. And I guess just watching him play that game, you really got a sense of where his trajectory is really headed.
Yeah. And you know, we can argue again back and forth with regards to who we believe the MVP is, but I mean, I'm a huge fan of Brady's, and to me, when I watch his game right now, it's becoming more and more complete. Not only is he dragging his teammates in a battle on any given night when these games don't really mean a heck of a lot, he's contributing offensively even more so than he has in the past now with playmaking ability. He's making plays now. He's making spinorama backhand passes into the slot and getting assists. And these are primary points, and they're pretty. And so he's demonstrating his ability to be very multifaceted all over the ice. And to me, it's the intangibles, though, and I'm always going to keep hammering down on this topic. It's what he can do for his teammates around him, how he complements his teammates. And he's the kind of guy, to me, I guess in short here, he's the kind of guy to me that is invaluable when it comes to playoff time. I mean, you can't put a price on a guy like him. He's the kind of guy that you just know will elevate his game. And if not, at least keep his consistent play that he's doing now into that postseason, where a lot of times, typically you'll see players kind of fade a little bit. Other players elevate their game. You know, a guy like Brady, who in my opinion is probably going to be captain, is that kind of guy that's a game player. And it's fun to watch.
Okay, I'm going to throw this at you. He has more goals than anybody else in his draft class, which was 2018.
Wow.
Of the top 4 players, because there's lots of contention over, you know, Kotkaniemi and whatnot, but of the top 4 players, when you look at Svechnikov or Rasmus Dahlin, Kotkaniemi, and Brady Tkachuk, who are you taking first overall?
I mean, well, it ain't Dahlin, and I don't want to hate on him. You know, I respect him as a player. He's had some struggles this year. For me, it's simple. I don't even think, I know Sergachev's very good, but for me, it's Brady. I mean, again, kind of guy you build your team around, and he's a captain. He's captain material. You don't find those players everywhere. They're incredibly rare, and he comes with all the pedigree in the world. Growing up in a hockey family, you just know it's natural for him, and you know he'll be able to contribute and be consistent, or at least I believe he'll be a consistent player now for many years. But now the key is signing him. We got to sign him.
Yeah, and that's fair. And then we don't watch a lot, obviously, of Svechnikov in Carolina, and he does have more points than Brady, and he's, you know, closing in on his 200th career NHL game. So it's tough to say because we watch Brady intimately each and every night. But that's a toss up there. I would probably lean towards taking Brady Tkachuk just because of what he can do. But I think Andrei Svechnikov certainly deserves all the attention and credit.
Yeah, and I think I said Sergachev. I meant Svechnikov.
Yeah.
So that's my bad.
See, once a defenseman, always a defenseman.
Yeah, a little slow sometimes. It's all good.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to your favorite player, number 48, and that is, let me see, JBD. Again, I don't understand why he's not in the lineup. So on Wednesday night, Bruce Garriock, talking on behalf of the organization from Pierre Dorian, clearly states that they don't want him to play just yet. They want him to build his confidence. You're an NHL player. You tell me how you build confidence if you're just going to practice every day. So maybe he gets lit up in a game or two and ends up being -3 or 4. I can remember the first game that Christian Wolanin played, and he was going up against Connor McDavid. So, why are we trying to protect him here? Just let him play and see what he can do. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
This is, and this has been polarizing, right? I mean, you can have an opinion on it, and you can find 10 other people that disagree with you. So I'm torn, but I'm just going to go with my gut. And let me analyze DJ's mind first. I think as a coach, right now, he's just playing to win, right? I mean, whether we want, whether you have Tank Nation on one end of the Sens fans that just want them to lose and get a better draft pick, that's fine. It's a pretty shallow draft, so I wouldn't put too much focus into that. But in any case, for me, it's simple. DJ's going with who he trusts. He's got some favorites, I'm sure, at some point, or guys that he might lean on a little more, like Brown, for example, on D. He's got a lot of history with Josh Brown. So, he's going to be putting him in there. And he brings that physical element too, which is, I understand, it's good to have. But I just don't understand when you've got a stallion in the stable right now. He's just waiting to play, and you won't put him in. Not even he had that one game, but it feels like it's been weeks now.
I know.
And he's just lingering. He's just hanging out on the practice squad, I suppose. Now, I don't know how he's doing in practice, if he's struggling or if he's having a rough go, or he just doesn't look like he's seasoned enough to jump back in. That very well could be the case, and that's something that we as fans don't see. But to me, it's inexcusable. I think at this point, you got to make room for him, and whether it means you dress 7D perhaps. Again, and there's a ripple effect to all those decisions, right? You have to figure out who you're going to take out. On defense, who do you take out of the lineup? And Mete's playing very well right now, at least up to his standard goes, and I think he's kind of surprising some people. And I think it's just a difficult decision. But to me,
just give me a game, Meth. Just a game.
No, I'm agreeing with you. He needs a couple games at the very least. I'm agreeing with you. I just don't know how you fit him in right now.
This whole let's Victor Mete play or whatever. How about you let the guy that you think is going to be the future play? I just don't get. I don't understand it.
I ultimately want to see him play more, and I think we all agree on that as a collective here in Sens Nation and as analysts or whoever. We all want to get more. We want to see what he can do, and I don't buy the whole kill your confidence thing, because let's face it, practice is not games. So it doesn't matter how much seasoning you're getting in practice. You can never compare to a game. A game is night and day, and you're only going to get a true test when you throw him into the fire like that and see what he can do. And you can still manage his minutes. So it takes us right back to square one. Like we're just coming right back full circle and pounding down on the same points.
Okay, I'm just going to ask one question and then we'll move on. And that is, if that is you, and we talk about this whole, he needs to get confidence and he might not get it if he's playing in the NHL. Are you not jacked to play your first, second, third, fourth NHL game? Like how defeated are you going to be coming off the ice after who cares if you go -3 in your second game?
No, you won't care. And that's a really good point you just made. As a young player, those -3s or -4s sometimes they don't really register as opposed to maybe perhaps if you're a veteran who's, really focused on your stats and trying to get a new deal. Like, he's just happy to be there, and he's going to be running on so much adrenaline. A lot like what we saw in that game, that first game, his first NHL game. He was fine. He played very well. He was responsible. He was moving very well. He was moving the puck. He played with poise. So I don't understand the logic behind it all. But again, there's got to be something that we're not seeing that perhaps is happening in practice. And that's the only thing that I can really leave it.
And it is true. We do see stuff in practice at times where you go, okay, so he's not just ready to go back in. That's fair. All right. We'll move on because we could talk about it probably all night long. And that is the next topic. One of our favorite topics lines we've heard all along is rest is a weapon by our good friend and former coach, DJ Smith, Guy Boucher. So
Guy Boucher,
we talk like going down the stretch, and we're talking about teams that are in the postseason or likely going to make the playoffs. Do players, while they're still in the game and are still trying to kind of fight for playoff positioning, take their foot off the gas a little so they're not so worn down as they head to the postseason?
That's tough. I think so. I do believe it happens a lot more often than we would probably realize. I know I've seen it, and I've had my moments where in my mind, we've clinched a playoff spot and I still have 10 games to play. And I'm thinking, mind you, I can't remember going in that confidently into the postseason, but nevertheless, I've been in situations where, you're tempted to lay off the gas a little bit because all you can think is, man, I don't want to get hurt. I want to just, get through this game, get through the next, and then, be healthy going into that first round. The last thing you want to do is be dealing with a nagging injury. But a lot of times that can kind of have a negative effect because you're playing a little more passive and tentative, and you're more likely to get hurt in those cases. It's just the way it works. So I do believe, though, having said all that rest is a weapon. And, if it's me and I'm managing a team and I'm, the Vegas Golden Knights, for example, and I've got a couple guys that are banged up, I might sit them for the last couple games of the season, or at least a game here or there, and, kind of schedule a watch and see who your opponents are and then make a decision going from there. Because again, a lot of times it's just not worth it. And you'd rather have your player out of the lineup than just playing to get through the game in the lineup.
So then my question is, if you're the GM and you are a point up on Colorado or whatever it is, or you have a chance to finish first, is playoff positioning that important?
I think so. I think especially this year, right? I mean, you know your opponents very well. And I guess it depends on the division we're talking about, but I think seeding is so important. I mean, it always is important, but especially that statement is especially true this year because everything's tight. You've played tons of games against the same teams. So again, you've got to be clear cut in it, locked into a position before you start worrying about resting players. However, from experiences playing under guys like Guy Boucher, I've always been a huge fan of it. I don't like always having to play in games that don't really mean a whole lot. So I'm a fan.
Okay, finally, and we're going to talk about the playoffs kind of a little bit in the future, although the Sens aren't technically eliminated yet, I don't think. How about is what we're seeing now as they come down the stretch, and I will emphasize there's no pressure on them right now to win hockey games. Are we seeing a team that's going to be in the postseason next year, Meth?
Oh, and I've thought about this. I hope they are, because I'd much rather be in a position with you guys right now, with you and Craig, talking about a postseason game and having to analyze all this great stuff because it's fun, it's more material. But I just, unless they get a couple key pieces, and we've been talking lots about maybe a top four, the question mark still surrounds goaltending. I'm sorry, but it still is. And right now, as fans, as analysts, we're watching a team that isn't necessarily playing for very much. And I can speak from experience. When the games aren't necessarily overly meaningful, sometimes you tend to overachieve a little bit. And it's just the way it is. You're playing very loose, you're playing free, and things just click. But then you add a little adversity and a little more stress and pressure on winning games, and your season can kind of start to go downhill unless you have the right pieces. So to me, I'm going to have to say maybe just outside looking in next season with the hopes of perhaps sneaking in through the back door at 4, depending on the structure, of course, of the divisional format if they go back to a conference. But in any case, I think they're going to be just outside, but I'm going to have high hopes and keep my fingers crossed that they get their foot in the door.
It'll be interesting because we can see teams like you have no idea, what the divisional lineup is going to be next year because we have no idea how it's going to play out. But
exactly,
it could be injuries to key players on other teams, or it could be Alex Formenton all of a sudden scores on every shorthanded breakaway and he's got 20 goals. And so then the wins start to pile up based on other guys having successful years or whatever, right? Like you don't know what's going to happen as you go into the year, but I tend to be with you thinking this team is sitting on the outside looking in by the time the playoffs roll around next year. But however, it'll be certainly interesting to keep it,
they're getting better,
talk about the entire time, right? It gives you something to look forward to. So as every team tries to do, they still hope. And so we'll see what happens and hope for next season. Right. Okay.
Yep.
Lots more to come on the show. Mika Zibanejad just around the corner, plus trivial trivia. And Craig has got lots more to talk about. So don't go anywhere. You're watching the Wally and Methot Show. Okay, welcome back to the Wally and Methot Show. Happy to be joined now by former Ottawa Senator, 6th overall pick in 2011, Mika Zibanejad, who now is one of the hottest scorers in the National Hockey League over the last month. Mika, welcome to the show. Great to see you again.
Thank you. Good to see you guys.
Okay, can you just take us through the past month before we delve into a bunch of topics? You're tearing up the league, and I think only your teammate Artemi Panarin is overshadowing you slightly for points. You score 6 points in 2 games against Philadelphia, which is an NHL record for back-to-back, all that stuff. Can you just explain what it's been like for this past month for you?
I mean, obviously, it's when you're an offensive player. Obviously, a D-man as well, but offensive player, you're supposed to produce and you're supposed to score. It's always nice when you get a stretch like this. Obviously, the start of the season wasn't what I or anyone else wanted to be, but when you get into that groove, you play more on your instinct. You get a little bit different you get more of a swag, really, and it's the best feeling, really.
Okay, can you just you've always downplay stuff. Tell me what it's like to have 6 points in a game, let alone 2.
Honestly, like the first one was, I couldn't believe it was happening. It was just, I felt like everything was going in. Everything I touched, whoever I gave the puck to, they were scoring. So, and then the second game comes around and they were joking a little bit in the locker room before the game on another 6-point night. And then that happens and I'm literally chuckling on the bench as this is going on. And I don't think I had 6 points for 2 games when I was a kid. And you had half of the net open when everyone was so,
it's true.
The goalies were so small and you could literally score from anywhere. But I don't know. It's definitely something that's fun to kind of look back at, even now, but definitely down the road.
Yeah. Okay. And then last year you had 5 goals in a game. I think it's last year. How does that compare to the 6 points in a game? I got to think 5 goals is going to be one of those you're never going to forget anytime soon moments.
Yeah. And I think just the way that game unfolded, back and forth, scored the 4th one with 140 left and they tie it up and we go to OT and I remember that night the Garden was just rocking. It was probably one of the most fun games I've played, just in terms of the atmosphere at MSG, and it was I don't think it beats the 6 points doesn't beat that game.
I think that's fair to say. So how's life been though in New York the last 5 years for you? Obviously you've transitioned into a premier NHL player, but what's just like to live in New York City?
It is different. Just coming from Stockholm, the city life, and then coming to Ottawa was obviously different, especially with the rink being outside and all of that. And then coming here to New York, it felt a little bit more like home, like Stockholm, and it's super busy, and I like that. I like that something's going on all the time. I don't. You definitely don't feel like you're alone wherever you go. So it's been nice. The city's great. One big thing is too, like for family to fly in, it's just one flight. It's 7.5 hours. It's close, and I've loved it since I got here, and the team and everyone around, and just the city's been treating me well.
Wait, Mika, you mean to tell me that you couldn't find anything to do right by the Brook Street Hotel in Canada, Ontario? You had no issue with that?
I wish I was a good golfer, then maybe, but
yeah, I think there's a huge difference between and people don't understand how busy it is. Like you can step out of your house in New York City at any given time and there's something to do. There's atmosphere, there's people walking everywhere. I think do you guys do shows and stuff like that when you're out and you have free time?
Yeah, we I've been to a couple Broadway shows, and just even going to like a Comedy Cellar after games and stuff, and there's always something to do. And I mean, I don't know how many years you have to put in to go through every restaurant in the city.
That's true.
I don't think that's enough. So it's fun that way, and especially with family and friends, having it easier to come here. Everyone wants to see something different. Everyone wants to try this restaurant they heard about, and that way it's nice. I mean, it's in a nice way. We have the Knicks, we have the Giants, we have the Yankees, the Mets, and when you walk around in the city, you kind of just blend in, and that's something that I enjoy and something I appreciate.
Yeah.
Do you have a small restaurant it's your go-to? Do you have anything, or it's because everybody's coming to see you that you're always at, I guess, the more well-known establishments?
I mean, there's definitely the few places like Tao and Catch that people like to go to, and if they haven't been there, I'd definitely take them there, so they get to try it. But I have this little Spanish tapas place right next to me that I love to go to, and that's been my kind of go-to. It's very close, so if I don't feel like walking far or taking an Uber, just walk down and get some nice dinner and then head back home.
What part of town? And obviously, Mika, I'm not trying to broadcast your address here. What part of you'll get some people now. What part of town are you in?
I'm in Midtown, so I'm literally 2 blocks away from the Garden. So
what a setup!
It's been great. This is my 3rd place since living in New York, and just the ability to walk to games, never have to worry about traffic. It's the same route. It's the same time it takes the same amount of time every time I go to the games. And you know me, I like to show up if it's a 5 o'clock meeting, I like to show up at 4:59. So
yeah,
that way it works out for me pretty well.
Well, and it's nice too, because you don't have to, people don't understand that you have to go to the rink in the morning and then you do your pregame skate and then there's meetings. Mm-hmm. So if you're far from the arena, it's a nightmare with all the commuting. Yeah. So I can understand how, because when I played in Ottawa, I had to drive 30 minutes each way all the time. Yeah. And I'd be driving 100 kilometers an hour down Hunt Club just to get home. So I can appreciate your location now. That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, no, it's been good. And obviously we have the training facility up in Westchester, so it's a little bit of a drive to practice. And this year, especially with all the testing and stuff on the days off, it's been kind of a drag to just drive up. It takes me about 30-40 minutes, but it's still testing for not even a minute to sit in your car for an hour and a half. But other than that, normal setup. It's been good.
That practice facility in Rye is beautiful. I remember covering a playoff series one time and I didn't know where it was. And we were in New York. We don't have a rental car. And they're like, well, just take a cab. I think it was $120 cab ride out to the middle of nowhere. But what a place. That's got to be. And I hear you still have the 5-star chef there. What is that practice facility like as a player?
I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know anything about it before I got here, but I mean, it's great. It's just to have everything there, and the setup that we have with the gym now, renovated as well, and the turf that we have. It's. I mean, they treat you so well. They make sure that you get everything that you need to be able to perform at your highest level, and they're ready to help. And I mean, the training facility has been great, and to drive up there, you have. I mean, now with the turf and the gym, what it looks like, and our locker room and everything, it's been you have a lot of stuff to do even there when you're not rushing home. Let me put it that way. So it's.
I was going to say, you guys have a 5-star chef. Can we not comment on this? Where is this something you guys have had forever? What?
Yeah, I mean, right now we have to. We're not allowed in there because we have our part is kind of connected with the Knicks, but Knicks are on the other side.
Yeah.
So because of COVID, they don't want us to kind of go in and out to the meal room. But yeah, otherwise you basically come in. It's like a buffet. There's 3 different meals that you get to pick between, and we have that set up right now as well. But you just order through the app, and they come out with it.
You order it through an app?
Yeah.
That's the national. That's what it should be like.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So,
anyway, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I was just curious.
No, it's been. I mean, that's again, like they do everything in their power to kind of put those little things that wouldn't matter if it wasn't there, but now when it is, you kind of like, it's easy to take it for granted for sure, but it's been so easy for us. So that way it's hard not to appreciate the little things really.
And that's like one reason among many that allow teams like that go the extra mile to pull in good free agents come summertime. Like those are little things that people don't understand. They don't see it. But like when you know the food's going to be excellent every time and they're willing to just go that extra mile to make sure you're comfortable when you're a new player, it goes and players talk, right? Like we all talk about it and all of a sudden everyone knows that the secret's out.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something they take pride in, to take care of the players and do the little things. Again, like I didn't know what to expect. I didn't expect that. And, as much as I appreciate everything I had in Ottawa, this is just a different level. And understandably, just the way it is. And I feel like that's with every New York team. So it's, I mean, with that comes a little bit more added pressure, obviously, because they really make sure that you have everything and you can't really complain. You can't really have anything to kind of, I don't know, blame on, but it's been, it works out, I guess.
Yeah. You better play well. There's no slumps allowed, right?
No. That's not, we've done everything for you. That's
nice.
That's basically it.
What's it like to play at MSG? I've been fortunate enough to cover a few playoff series, including the Stanley Cup final. It is, for us in the stands, I can always remember there's always a hum. There's always some energy. And I don't know what that is when you're playing, but players always talk about how great it is to play at MSG and what's it like to play 41 times a year there in a regular season.
I remember when I played in Ottawa, this was definitely, coming here was definitely a game that you circled on your calendar and you're looking forward to play the Rangers in at MSG. And then now be able to call it home and play half of the games at home with the fans behind you. It's like you said, I mean, I feel like that's New York though. Like there's that constant energy and it never really dies out. It's always there. And obviously when we play well, when we win and we score, the place is just feels like it's on fire, but it's so much fun. And even the playoff series we had against Montreal and Ottawa, my first year here it was incredible. It was incredible to play.
Yeah. And well, as a player, like when we played against you guys, I still remember, because it can be intimidating, right? You're a player and then you look behind you and like Liam Neeson or Margot Robbie's back there. And I'm just like, and I could see them every time I came off the ice. Right. So like you're skating around and you're changing and you're coming back on the bench. And I'm just like it just messes with your focus. So I think that's another element, right? The star factor. And that contributes to the atmosphere that you guys have there. You're so fortunate to have that. Yeah,
it definitely, I mean, even for us sometimes, depending on who's behind the bench, you kind of have to snap out of it because it's easy to kind of lose focus for a couple minutes when you look back and you see someone from your favorite show or your favorite artist or whatever. So that's pretty cool to have that and them being up that close to you. It's and them coming there to watch you play. It's definitely adds some energy to that as well. You want to perform well in front of those guys.
Have you ever had somebody back there that's like made you personally like just be like, oh my God, like I can't believe he or she is here? Like one star that you could think of that like kind of caught your eye. I put him on the spot.
I almost it's I'm always forgetting right now because we haven't had fans and we haven't had people.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's fair.
So long, so I can't really.
But you're a big music guy. Like we can get into that in a bit. But like, if you had a big artist back there that like you got to meet afterwards or something.
I was actually hurt my first year, but I had this Chainsmokers and
Nice
back there, and I get to meet them and talk to them, and that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool to see them, and obviously the music part of things. But it was unfortunate that I didn't play that game. But I think they came later that year, so it was definitely something I'll remember.
Do you guys keep in touch? Do you keep in touch with any of them at all? Like, does any of the guys on the team, like Buddy, like end up being friends with some of these stars that come in?
Some of them some of them used to come into the locker room as well. It was some from the cast of, was it Power? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it could have. Power. That's a good show. Yeah. Love that show.
So I think there were like 3 or 4 of them that were in the locker room, and some guys were like kind of starstruck about it. But that was it happens. And I mean, again, it's New York, so I guess I'm not really surprised anymore.
Yeah, you're used to it.
Yeah.
Mika, I want to bring up something that Meth just recently brought up and let us know. You aren't, Mika, you are not the first DJ in Ottawa Senator history. In fact, Meth tells us that he used to DJ in London. So I don't know if you ever knew this, and perhaps you could pick his brain about ways to spin records.
No, he didn't. I guess he didn't really support me. That's the first thing he should have told me.
Exactly.
You wanted to keep that quiet, huh?
No, you know what? It was Wally's he's not screwing it up. I DJ'd a couple times when I was playing for Columbus, and it was like a night out after a game, and we knew one of the bar owners, and it was like preset where like you just pick the songs and it would associate the music video, and it would play on all the screens. It was just, it was not on your level, not even close. Are you still doing all that stuff?
Well, again, I mean, I feel like I give you guys the same answer all the time. Because of COVID, I haven't done it in a while, but
are you making music?
Yeah, so I'm still making music. Obviously, Warzone now, and when you have the home and work quarantine that we had this season, there are a lot of times, a lot of hours spent on that PS5. So
let's talk about Warzone for a second. I want to get into this, okay? Because right now it's a pretty big day for those out there that are listening that happen to play Warzone. The map is being nuked. So we had to adjust our scheduled meeting with Mika Zibanejad so that he could join Warzone at the nuke hour. And again, this is going to go over a lot of people's heads, but I play it a lot now too, and it's so addictive.
It is. I mean, it doesn't matter how bad of a day you have, you still play.
It's true.
I don't care how badly I suck at the game. I'm still gonna play. So
and if you have a crew of guys that you can play with, like I'll play with some of my buddies, and we have like our own Warzone group chat, and we're always like updating each other about where the zombies are at. And now there's like these weird zombie zones, right? So if you glide through them, you get infected. It's crazy.
I don't like that, but I'm assuming it's because the new or the old map or the map that we have right now is going to get nuked. So
exactly.
I'm hoping that's not there.
So maybe we'll run this.
You like this conversation?
I might as well just show myself.
Interrupt and go somewhere else, huh?
I'm not a big Warzone guy. I don't know if you can tell or not. Do you have Ranger teammates that are in your group? Is that what you call it, a group?
Yeah, you don't. Group.
He has no idea what he's talking about. It's so embarrassing. I just cringed.
Wait, can't you play as a group online with your buddies? You just said. So is there? Do you have Ranger teammates?
You play in teams, right? Like you play in teams, and so Mika's probably got a bunch of guys he plays with, and they'll meet up. Like, do any of the boys on your team play?
Yeah, we have a bunch of guys playing. So I usually have my schedule around 3:00. My buddies back home get on, play for them, and play with them for a bit, and then I jump on later at night with the guys on the team. So good way
how many hours a day do you play? I'm just like on average, like a day off, like today. How much would you play?
Since my fiance had left for for Sweden, I think I average about, I don't know if this is good that it comes out, but solid at least 4 hours.
Yeah. 4 hours.
Yeah.
But it's no different than watching TV. Like sometimes my wife will be like, why do you play? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, you're sitting watching nonsense on Netflix. At least this is more engaging. It's good for your hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, and I get to talk to my buddies. I mean, I wouldn't have a conversation for 4 hours on the phone with them. But you play and you talk and whatever, the time flies by. So it's a good way to kind of catch up with the boys at home.
Yeah. And the lobbies are less. Leo, you know what? We'll stop.
Yeah, because I'm watching this right now.
I feel bad.
Want to move on.
I'm
just gonna wait. I wasn't even gonna jump in anymore.
Go ahead, Wally. Go ahead. No, we're just talking. We're done. I don't want to talk about Warzone too much. We're talking to an all-star hockey player here. Maybe we should keep hockey in the mix too.
So, because I don't have a lot of time because of your new map coming out, I want to know if we can go back to Ottawa and just did you see the trade coming that sent you to New York, which has obviously been a huge benefit for your career and it's really taken off. But was it a kick in the teeth when it happened? Did you see it coming?
No, I didn't see it happening. I heard rumors are everywhere, obviously, but I heard rumors from the years before that about other trades and whatnot, but I didn't hear this one. And obviously it was a little shocking in the beginning and took some time to really understand. I remember the phone call was just my agent calling me and saying that I got traded to New York, but he didn't know what team. So I just called.
You're like this.
Yes. Now for looking back at it, I'm super happy, but I had my phone died. So I went back, I went in to make some music, and then 15 minutes later I went up to charge my phone, checked my phone. I had like 6 missed calls, 6 messages, even emails from my agent saying, call me now. And I'm thinking, I know I have 1 more year. There's no way he's this hungry of an extension. So there's something else going on here. And then he just told me I got traded, and it was just, I don't know, I kind of freeze for a little bit. I've only seen it since a kid on TV and hearing about it, and then just seeing other guys get traded, and then I didn't really know how to react. And then when I called my family and everyone was so excited for that opportunity, and it was I think I was lucky enough that it happened during the summer, so I had some time to kind of adjust. I had some time to plan everything, plan the move there, and pack everything, and just kind of get time to settle in. So it was I was fortunate enough that it happened during the summer.
Were you a bit obviously you're disappointed, but if I'm not mistaken, I've heard a story where you and your dad were, I think it might have been the last road trip of the season, and you were speaking with a colleague of mine sitting, I think the night before a game, and you had said, this summer, I'm going to be like, I know what I need to do. I'm going to drill down. It's going to be the best summer training wise, and I'm going to be ready to play next year. Like that you had committed to Ottawa to be ready to go, and that you got dealt. Was that a bit of a sting for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the team that drafted you. You have had so much that I'm still to this day that I'm thankful for getting the opportunity to play in the NHL, for getting the opportunity to getting all the help and coming into a team like that with the guys that we had in that locker room. I mean, I didn't understand it at that point, how important it was to really bury down with the training and everything. I don't know. It was just hard for me to understand, and I didn't want to be the guy that was, if he gets it or if he would have gotten, he will be a good player. Rather be when he gets it. So it was hard, obviously, and again, like when you get drafted, you plan on playing there for you want to play there for the rest of your career, and you want to do as good as possible, and really prove that team that they did the right decision and made the right choice by drafting. And when that doesn't happen, obviously it's disappointing, but again, it happens basically to everyone. So I just got another great opportunity with New York, and it's been good since then.
Well, Ottawa could certainly use you now, centering this organization. But anyway, we'll move on, just like you have. There is a thing, though. You just said during your little Warzone chat that you wouldn't spend 4 hours talking on the phone. But my understanding is your first year in Ottawa, your cell phone bill was atrocious. Does that ring a bell?
And I blame Bell. I blame Bell for this, because this was horrendous.
Oh, I won't be defending them, so go ahead.
That was absolutely horrendous. I got some help. The customer service I got was just to remind me to pay a $5,000 bill. I'm like, how is this high?
What?
Yes.
Your bill was $5,000?
Yeah, because I was talking
to
my family back home. I talked to my family back home, and I just remember, I'm like, what? You guys told me I was going on this international plan or whatever, helping me out. And it happened a few too many times where it was like, they shut my phone off, because I'm like, I'm not paying this. I'm literally not paying this.
Come and get me.
And they shut my phone service off. And when I asked someone at Bell to help me, who was one of the sponsors or whatever, like at the golf tournament that we usually have, oh, I'll help you out. Turn my phone on. The bill was still the same. So I think I changed. I can't remember what I changed to, but
was it Rogers?
Yes. I changed to Rogers pretty quickly after that.
Yeah,
so
I guess so.
I mean, and it wasn't that, like, yeah, sure, it was not a 2-minute conversation, but $5,000 to call my mom and dad and my brother, I don't know, that was not worth it. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I wouldn't have paid it either. No chance.
You brought up fiance. You got engaged this summer. That's got to be an exciting time for Mika Zibanejad.
Yeah, I mean,
is she a bigger star than you are? Like, she's a former pro soccer player. I don't think she's still playing, but she's also a broadcaster. Like, you went to the media side of things.
Yeah, I figured, just keep your enemies closer, I guess.
Smart man.
Get bullied in media, but no, we actually met in high school. So this August, it will be 11 years ago we first met.
Wow.
Wow.
And then I moved to Ottawa, and we wanted kind of different things, and obviously I moved from Sweden, so there was something there early on, but not really ready to take that step from either side, I guess. And then met up a couple years ago, and everything kind of felt the same again, and everything just felt right. So she's been great, and being a former player and played at a high level, she's really, really understanding, and she's been big help for me as well to kind of understand the times that I don't want to talk about hockey, and sometimes when she just listens to me talk about hockey. And that's something I appreciate so much, and especially the life we live in, the schedule we have, and the amount of games we have. It's been awesome, and I mean, I can't thank her enough for the support and just letting me do my thing, really, and just being there for me during the season, and usually goes the other way around when we're back home, when she does her broadcasting.
You have lots of pictures on your, I believe, Instagram about your nephew, who you love dearly. I'm just curious now, are kids on the horizon here soon?
I mean, yeah, we'll be like, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, we're getting married, so I know this is the girl I want to be with, and eventually start a family with. So definitely a conversation that's been passing by during dinner time.
Nice. I think you'd be great. I mean, it'd be so cool to be a kid and have their dad play for the New York Rangers and MSG. I think would be phenomenal. Anyway,
Agreed.
Quick question. You brought up earlier about going to see Broadway shows. What's your favorite Broadway show you've seen?
The Book of Mormon.
I've heard it's
nice. Good. Yeah.
I've watched it 5 times. So I watched it the first time, and then 4 other times where people come in and I'm telling them they have to go watch a show, but I'll come with you because I thought it was that good. So
can you get tickets? Like shows seem to be sold out. Do you got connections?
Again, they take care of us. So
there was a long pause there, so I knew it was yes.
I love it. It was such a mobster
But I figured
response,
you would know the answer, no?
I just wanted
After
to hear
everything
you
I've
say
said, you should know the answer to that. But no, I mean, it's they help out, yeah, it's again, whatever we need help
whatever
with,
you want.
that they can.
For sure.
They will.
That's good. It's something we ask everybody, and usually I wait till the end, but I want to ask it now before I forget. Do you have a favorite cheat snack where you're sitting down playing Warzone that you enjoy?
Yeah, it varies so much. I go into like these 3-month periods where I love Snickers, and then it's something else or whatever. But
there's got to be something. What do you have? Like, do you have like nachos in the evening or anything like that? Like, are you just a clean eater now, Mika? Don't lie to us.
No, don't give him the clean eating excuse.
No, I do, because my fiance is vegan, so it's a lot of
Well, Matt is clearly not on board.
No.
You don't like that, huh?
Wait, no, let's talk about this for a second. So are all your meals tailored? Because one of my close friends, his fiance is also a vegan, and she's actually converted him, which is so unfortunate. So your approach being an athlete, do you just have vegan meals now at home at night, or do you no. Do you have your separate meal?
No. I would say I go like 50-50.
Wow, still, that's impressive. So you actually met her halfway on it.
Yeah, no, the only reason, because especially now when she, like, we have a practice, whatever, I come home and she's the one cooking. And it's not like there's so many, like now, like if you go back like 5 or 10 years ago, the vegan options weren't great. But all of that has really like evolved. And I wouldn't say like the substitute for ground beef or chicken or whatever tastes the same. Like, I'm not going to go there, but it doesn't taste like that different. So and if you get the good product, so I don't mind it, and I've been feeling pretty good eating that and being able to kind of split it, so I still get the regular stuff. And it's kind of hard to do that, especially come game days when I have my routine and I have the same thing I eat. So but she's been good with that, and she's not one of those that forces me to eat it, but I'll definitely eat it especially when it's good.
That's fair. That's good, because it can get very cultish, I find, sometimes with vegans, and there's no offense. No, I'm not trying. I don't want to get attacked.
We've had that conversation, so we both know our place. So.
Okay, fair enough.
Again, I'll try and interrupt this conversation, and that is, do you have any good stories? As I try to learn more about meth as we go on here, do you got anything about playing with meth in your time that sticks out?
He won't have anything on me. I'm like a ninja.
Yeah, and even if I did, I wouldn't do it here.
Come on, man.
Mika was so young too when he was with us.
Yeah, I mean,
you really put him on the spot there, Wally. But I mean, it's understandable. He asks everybody, so it's normal. Like, if you're struggling, you can just say so,
I can't think about anything good. I mean, if we're gonna have anything good, it's probably coming from Eric. But I would say 50% of what Eric's saying is bullshit too. So I don't know.
I agree.
Up too. I don't know.
I agree with you. Totally agree with you. I want to turn this conversation into a shit talking Eric Carlson interview. So if you have any dirt on Eric, that would be great.
Eric. I miss that guy.
Yeah, so do I. He's special. It's okay. So wait, we ignored the other question, Wally. What's your one cheat meal? Like one thing other than the Snickers thing you brought up. I need to know what it is because we asked the fans.
All right. Probably if I'm going to, probably Five Guys.
Yes.
That's,
See? Why didn't you say
what
that?
about Shake Shack?
I like it, but you have to be there. Like I order a lot of food, especially now when I'm by myself.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And I don't cook.
Five Guys is great.
It's better there. It's better. Shake Shack is really, really good when you get it right away. But
yes,
I would say Five Guys is better when you get delivered.
Agreed.
I can never understand a lineup to Shake Shack. Like it's constant, it seems like, especially the one that's in Times Square.
Overrated. It's totally overrated. Because when we played against Mika and we were in New York, like Chris Neal and who else? Chris Kelly, a couple guys always waited to get a shake, like on our days off. And they'd wait in like a 15-minute lineup outside. You know, it was one of those weird random outdoor ones. And I never understood it. Like it made no sense to me. So anyway.
Yeah, no, it's hype for sure. It's like in and out on the west side. I would say
good call.
Kind of
only a few minutes left. Sorry, I want to know what Artemi Panarin's been like to play with. So he's somewhat underrated, if you will. I know he's a Hart finalist, but he never seems to garner a lot of attention, if you will. So what's the bread man like to put on the skates with and play alongside?
It's probably I would say the smartest player I've ever played with. Just in terms of how, like, as a forward and the way he plays, you rarely see him sprint or go full speed. He has so much respect because I find that you give him time, he will tear you apart. But if you go at him, he's so good at protecting the puck and putting the way his puck handling skills is unbelievable. And the awareness of where he has it and where he puts it to put it in a situation where you can't really go at him. And he kind of wants you to go at him to find that cross ice to the second wave coming in. And I don't know, he plays hockey in my mind. Like he plays hockey every shift. And he it's been a lot of fun playing with him, and the ideas he has and the way he thinks the game is, you learn every day by just watching him and talking to him. So it's definitely been top moments to play with that guy.
And then I'll ask about the flip side of that, and it's Alexis Lafreniere, who struggled to start. Did you have many chats with him, both being at center, about getting him to relax or whatever and just play?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the guys we're talking to him, trying to help him out, and it's a fine balance between understanding that it's not juniors anymore. Some of the things might not work, but also remember why you're number one. The things that you do so well that a lot of people can't do, to kind of stick to that and to be able to fine tune that into an NHL level. And I think he's been starting to come around with that. You can see him with a lot more confidence with the puck. And I mean, he's an offensive guy, and you trying to, I mean, everyone's different. So I can only speak from my experience, but he might not react to it the same way. He might not think the same way as I did or someone else did. So you try to be there for him in a way, and just kind of try to give him more confidence and let him figure it out himself as well. Because I think that's important to find to find your game at the NHL level without losing what brought you here.
And finally, because I gotta let you go because I know the new map is coming. And that will there be a Mika Zibanejad album anytime soon?
No albums, but definitely more singles.
Cool.
It's better that way. At least I read it from artists and stuff. It's better to release just singles. So it's definitely something I want to keep doing, but it all has to do with the timing as well. I mean, a lot of people don't like it, but as long as you take care of business on the ice, then excuse me, then it's all good.
You're scoring 6 points a night. I think you're doing just fine, sir. We will let you go. Just a reminder that when Meth and I visit New York, we will be asking you for tickets to the Book of Mormon. Okay?
Yeah,
for sure. I'll be right there with you guys.
Oh, perfect. All right. Take care, my friend. Good luck the rest of the season. We appreciate your time.
Okay. Thanks, Mika.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Okay, everybody, welcome back to the show. All right, Matt, I got something I want to talk to you about. And we've discussed this a couple of times, and I've heard a lot on Twitter lately about gritty wins. And I'm not talking about the Philadelphia Flyer mascot. I'm talking about when NHL teams say, oh, it was a real gritty win tonight. Listen, you can explain this to me because I don't get gritty wins in the NHL. Unless they're all on IVs in the intermission, they're playing with one leg. You are in the National Hockey League. You are all among the 700 best players in the world. There is no such thing as a gritty win unless you're down by 6 goals going into the third period. Prove me wrong.
And you're coming at me strong right now, but I like the enthusiasm and you're assertive. And I'm wondering what you have in store for me, but I'm going to go for it anyway. You know what? A gritty win is simple. It's when you're feeling like garbage, you're on a back-to-back game, you know the legs aren't there, and you just grind out an ugly, ugly win. It's almost kind of the same thing as an ugly win. You're getting uncomfortable out there. Perhaps a couple guys step up, get some ugly goals around net front. Nothing's pretty. That's a gritty win. It's pretty simple. I'm curious to see what you say.
It's not gritty, Meth. It's just you're a professional hockey player paid on average over $1 million a year to put a puck in the net. If you can't get up on each and every night to play hockey, then you don't deserve to be in the National Hockey League because there's 1,000 people that would take your job in a heartbeat. So tell me how
Wally.
It's gritty. Like, oh my, it's so gritty. It's like you're missing a finger. Like it's not gritty.
Listen, first of all, I have played with a missing finger before, and it's not fun. I'd like to think that play was gritty. In any case,
we've heard all about this.
You're missing the mark. Okay, I'm not going to talk about myself. Listen, you're missing the mark, though. The point is, in the NHL, it doesn't matter if you're an NHL player, if you're getting paid X amount. It's irrelevant. The point is, on any given night, you're never going to feel always 100%. Like I can remember times where I'm in the hallway stretching before games, and I'm doing leg swings and I'm trying to jog up and down the hallway at like MSG in New York. And I'm like, oh boy, like I'm going to be in one tonight because my legs feel like shit. But you get out there, you get in a warm up, you still feel brutal. You get off the ice, you have another coffee, you still feel terrible. That's when you know you're in one. And so when I'm in one, all I can think is, okay, Mark, Meth, you need a gritty game. You need to have a tough game. And I'll go out there and I'll keep it very simple. I'll throw pucks at the net. I'll be very hard to play against on my own. I know I'm not gonna win races all the time, but the odd time you can pull off a win that way, and that's a gritty win.
Okay, well, first of all, the night that you weren't really just throwing pucks on net is the night I want to go back and watch the tape. Second of all, It's not, you're one of 20 players. So you're going to tell me everybody's having a bad day tonight. No.
Well, no, but I'm referring to back-to-back games. Back-to-back games.
But they're just back to 75%. You didn't just die the day before. You just played a game. Like, it's not like you all broken ribs.
So let's assume I'm playing a back-to-back, and we had some pretty brutal travel dates with Dallas. Ottawa, we were a little more fortunate, but
yeah, let's assume I'm playing.
Yes. So, on any given night, and when I started my career, I played in Columbus. And Columbus and Detroit at the time, for those who don't remember, were in the Western Conference. So we were the only Eastern time zone teams in the West. In any case, you can imagine how brutal the travel would be, right? Same applied in Dallas. We'd go play maybe in Dallas one night, fly to Colorado that same night, play the next, and you're landing at like 2 a.m. You're getting to bed, you're having broken up sleep. It's hard to come down from the game. And then you're expected to perform that night. And listen, I know we're not soldiers here. We're not going to war by any means. And it's not that hard. We're very well taken care of, but it doesn't mean your body doesn't feel good. I mean, you feel like junk, and that's just the way it is.
Gritty.
So then what would you call it? I want to know what you would call it.
You either won or lost.
Come on, man. Listen, you are a professional broadcaster. You're more aware of
arguably
these. Yeah, I mean, you're aware of these catchy, names and phrases that you would use to describe a game on any given night. This is a normal thing.
I just
in the
don't
NHL.
think a 3-2 win is gritty. I just don't see that. I don't like, man, you gritted it out.
But Wally, that's not the point. It doesn't matter what the score is. The point is when you're not feeling good collectively as a team, and as a team, we all know that. And usually we'll address that in the locker room. Even the coaches will. Boys, I'm not going to lie, you guys look brutal that first period. We're going to have to win an ugly one here. Get to the net, get in the goalie's face, draw some penalties, whatever you want to say, but they're not going to be, the goals will not be pretty. So maybe you could call it an ugly win, but I can still say the same thing applies to being gritty. It's a gritty win.
Doing the show sometimes for me is really gritty to have to get a win out of this. So we'll just move on. And I don't like the term. I think the term is just listen, they're not playing. It's not the AHL team playing the NHL. They didn't just get called up. If you are the Belleville Senators and you're playing the Edmonton Oilers and you win, that is a gritty win. If you are the Ottawa Senators and you beat the Vancouver Canucks in Vancouver on a 4-2 win with an empty netter, it is not gritty. Please stop saying that term.
Okay, just don't yell at me, okay?
I'm going to need a minute. So coming up after the break, we're bringing in Craig. I got to calm down. You're watching the Wally and Methot show. All right, welcome back to the show. Joined now, as always, by our good friend Craig.
Hey, guys.
What up?
Good. No, I'm doing good, boys. That was a good little thing there. We got a little back and forth, talking gritty. I like it.
Still wound up about it, so move on.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
me too. I need like a chamomile tea or something to kind of calm me down a little.
Yeah,
I would think you're more of a peppermint guy.
Well, I have the perfect mug, so long as you don't mind hand washing it.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, that's
keep that logo fresh.
That's right. Speaking of fresh, I saw somebody enjoy some elk for dinner the other night on Instagram, and Wally shot me a note. Obviously, he's into that stuff too, as far as cooking and food goes. But
wait a second.
I don't think you're an elk guy. I don't think you're an elk guy, though. I think that was the conversation we had. Correct?
I was like, I sent this to Craig. I'm like, what is he doing? So do you eat a lot of elk meat, Chef Meth?
You know what? I love meat. I'm a vegan's nightmare, and that's no offense. One of my best friends is a vegan, and his wife, and I eat a lot of red meat, and sometimes I like to gravitate to something a little more gamey. So I'll eat a lot of bison as well, and elk. I've had kangaroo as well. I've had kangaroo sausages. Last summer I bought some in Ottawa at a farm, and they have a lot of exotic pets. They had rattlesnake. No, it wasn't rattlesnake. It was some kind of snake. But I went for the kangaroo, and it was disgusting.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Okay. How much research are you doing on meat?
I don't do a lot of research. I just go with what I believe I need. And elk is very healthy, and so is bison. Anything game related usually is pretty good. Venison a little bit, but I'm not a hunter or anything like that. I like game meats. I like switching it up. Even turkey. I eat a lot of turkey. Which obviously isn't necessarily game meat, but no, the elk was good. I have it every once in a while. The wife doesn't eat it. So generally on those nights, she'll either have a salad or something, and I just eat meat.
I just see you at the homestead. I just see him at the homestead. He's cutting off the hide from the The deers.
No,
being hung
I
in
don't
the
do that.
garage.
I don't
in the
know.
woods.
I probably could if someone taught me, but I'm not there yet. So it's all good.
Right.
Wally, what's the weirdest meat then that you've ever eaten? If it's not elk.
I'm I'll stick to bacon and chicken
Yeah, it's
and
delicious.
steak. So, and I only eat one kind of steak. I only like filet. I can't eat anything that's got a lot of fat in it.
Goodness.
It's filet or nothing. And so
sorry.
my kids will only eat filet now too. My great story is the very first time I ever went on a road trip covering the NHL playoffs was when I worked at Global in Montreal, and Michael Whalen, then the TSN reporter in Montreal, we're in Buffalo, which was round 2. It's my first ever time. And it's a big deal for me. A small kid from Fredericton. So we're at, I can't remember the name of the steakhouse that's in Buffalo. Anyway, I go to order my steak and said, hey, I'd like it well done. And Michael Whalen goes, no, he won't. And I was like, no, I like it well done. He's like, you can't have it well done, Wally. I'm like, but I just want it well. He's like, you're not ordering it. I'm like, what do you mean? So he won't let me order my steak. He's like, you'll have it medium or medium rare. I was like, no, I want it. Well, anyway, I said, I'll just have the chicken. I didn't get the steak.
Really? So wait, I have so many questions. So now when you have a steak or your fillet or your fillet, do you eat it? Do you eat it medium? Please tell me you do.
Have you been talking to my wife? I still prefer a medium well.
Are you?
That's crazy.
No, I'm serious.
That is Craig,
you told that story like we were going to be on his side. I was like, no, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I'm so used to it.
When I overcook a piece of meat, I take it and I throw it as hard as I can at the wall, and I give myself a timeout. So I'm like mind blown. Craig, how do you eat your meat? You're probably medium rare guy, right?
Medium rare.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm not allowed to barbecue unless it's hot dogs.
Oh God. Well, I'm happy because once things clear up and we all have a barbecue together, you're not going near my barbecue. I'm cooking.
Well, I'm not coming on. I'll just put mine on like 5 minutes before yours. Anyway, back to Craig's original question. When we were in Belarus,
weirdest meat you ever ate.
Yeah. Belarus World Championships, Hockey Canada took us out, and they always try to find us somewhere local. And it was pig's ears, and they were cutting strips. Yeah, it was very weird. And then there was like beef tongue. I wasn't down for that, but it was very chewy, apparently. But I'm not. Yeah. It's not filleted, so I'm not eating it.
But if it was well done, a well done beef tongue.
The pig's ear was well done, but it's just way too chewy. I don't like chewy.
Yeah,
it's very. I
can't
chewy.
do chewy.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd like.
Fair enough.
No.
Fair enough. All right.
So that's enough about me.
All right. Okay. Well, let's do a little trivia then. If we're done with the weird meat talk.
Absolutely.
So let's go. So this is Trivial Trivia presented by our friends at Gong Show. They're killing it. They've been giving us these dope Gong Show sauce-off kits to give away, and we had one from last episode. If you remember, we asked what was waiting in Tessa Bonhom's locker stall after the gold medal game, and the answer, of course, 2 boxes of cigars. Great little story there that she told. If you missed that one, go back and check it out. And you know who didn't miss it? At Money Shot, but the second O is a 0. Killing it, nailed it. We're going to be reaching out shortly to get you your very sweet Gong Show sauce-off game. And that actually, do you guys want to just roll right into today's? Goes back to Mika's here. Yeah, let's get right into it here then. And
we should have brought up something in Mika's, because he talked about his fiance being vegan, and Meth clearly was upset by that. Should have probably come up with something to do with meat. But anyway, I digress.
We balanced off the vegan part of our show with the meat part of our show. So I think we got a little something for everybody. So everybody wins. But you know what else Mika talked about is he talked about going to Broadway musicals in New York. So if you know what Mika Zibanejad's favorite Broadway musical is, you could win yourself a Mika Zibanejad bobblehead. So if you do know, send your answer on Twitter using the hashtag Wally and Methot. Contest closes Saturday, May 1st at noon Eastern, and we are going to tell you who won that on Monday's show.
It's a good show. I thought it was really gritty and well done, if you will. So until Monday, when we're back again, have a great weekend, everybody, and we will see you. Thanks for tuning in to the Wally Methot Show.
Do you seriously get your steaks are all well done? Even your fillets?
It's like medium well, but I'm like a slight hint of pink.
Like, I don't.
It's
like,
wrapped in
'cause I get
bacon.
it.
Doesn't that matter?
And we're talking on the show, and I'm like, I'm thinking, oh, Wally's just putting on a face. Like you're serious. You like your steak like a leather boot.
Like there can't be like blood coming out of it. I don't like a lot of pink. I just want.
No. Okay, listen. Yeah. When you finish your steak, cook it to medium. Use a thermometer, and you cover it with foil. Let it rest for like 10 minutes. All the juices flow right back out through the meat. But you're eating this leather. Like at that point,
so good.
Don't buy a steak. Save your money. Like you're eating filet. Just save your money.
I don't like the other steak cuts. I don't like it marbled and all that. I just want a nice piece of meat where I don't have to cut off.
You're an absolute pigeon for saying that on air. I can't even talk to you right now. I want to slam my laptop down and go upstairs.